welcome back to Inside Out Triangle, where we think outside the box. Hi, my name is Teray, and I'm here today with my daughter and my husband, and we are going to go ahead and do another story of historical horror stories. Okay? Today we have a lot of different kinds of food. I actually went to the store just to pick up some crabs and some tacos. But everything else was looking so good, I was like, I gotta do it today. So today we're having, let's start over here. We actually have a special edition Kit Kat bar. Special edition. The glare is pretty bad. Special edition is apple pie Kit Kat bar. We have cold Pepsis, which just came out the freezer. I actually tried a different recipe today for my chicken wings, so I did a wet batter and I deep fried it, which I usually don't do that. So I did the wet batter for the chicken wings. Then I have the dry batter, and I did those in the air fryer. So I deep fried these, and then I air fried these. And then, of course, we had to go ahead and grab some crabs. Then when we were at the store, over here, they had some gourmet sausages. So I picked up a chicken Philly cheesesteak one, a spinach and feta one, and then a sun-dried tomato one. So we're going to see how that tastes. And then we've got some cookies, hot sauce, Old Bay, all that good stuff over here. So let's go ahead and get started. We do have some napkins today, as always, and some plates. Okay. So let's see what people grab first. Let's see what people grab first. I think I'm going to try air fried. Air fried with the dry batter. This is actually my favorite part of the wing here. Right here. Hope you can see it. Let's give it a try. With some Texas Pete hot sauce. Let's see what people grab first. Oh, Texas Pete is my favorite. It's just so flavorful. That glare is bad. It's so flavorful. And it's not that expensive. That's a little better. Alright, so we got some dry air fried going. And then the wet, going towards the camera, and a crab with extra Old Bay. And I actually put that in the air fryer too. They were already cooked. I asked them for a dozen of them. According to my husband, they're male. Yeah, they're male. So I put butter in there in the air fryer too. Put it on. I baked it though. I didn't air fry it because my air fryer, I can do air fry. I can do dehydrate. I can do bake. And so I put it on bake. And did it for like 4 minutes. Let's see how it turned out.
Is it already Old Bay on there?
Yeah, but I know you want more Old Bay. I'm going to have to put some more Old Bay on there. So let's give it a chance. Wow. I'm trying not to get in the glare. That's actually pretty good. It's moist and tasty. And what I did was, I went to Walmart and I tried a different breading. It was Hooters. It came in a pack, a nice dry pack, and we opened it up. It had a lot of different flavors and seasonings in there. So I took that and I added some garlic salt, some sea salt, and some paprika. Mixed it all together. And then I breaded the half of the chicken wings dry, put that in the fridge for about 30 minutes. And then the other half I mixed with water, put the chicken wings in there, mixed it all together, and put that in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes. Then air fried and deep fried. So far, so good.
It's good.
Thank you.
Rice cut
Yeah. You could probably just break off a piece. Everybody just break off a piece. Texas Pete. It's my favorite. Yeah. Yeah, that's a movie. Do you want some of the sausage? You gotta try it. Oh, you wanna try a crab? see. You should have seen the look she gave me. My other 3 kids, they would be killing these crabs right now. My youngest, she's like her mother in that regard, where she doesn't really like crabs like that. Just the meat, right? How the crabs?
I haven't tried it. Fireworks.
Really? I can hang soda. That's him cracking the crab, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, they good.
That's her opening the soda. This your first time having crabs all year?
Alright. Alaskan crab. Like 2 weeks ago, I had Alaskan snow crabs.
Okay. Was that good?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're about to find out what sausage this is. Well, it's got a perfect snap. Nice skin.
I want to try these.
Okay. You sure you don't want to try, please? Okay.
Pick which one I want.
Right, okay. It's not too bad. I'm trying to figure out which one it is. I definitely taste sausage. And at the end, it hit me with a real bad sausage taste. Anybody? What'd you taste?
Look like I see something green and like one have green.
Mm-hmm. One was a spinach and feta.
Spinach. Look like I see spinach. Can't really taste it. But
Okay. So that one might have been the spinach feta one. So all in all, I'm not mad. And here's that crab. Okay. So back in the late, I thought my soul was gonna fall. If I can get it to come over here. There you go. Okay. Now open this one. So back in the late 80s, early 90s, there was a TV show. And if you were around back then, you kind of know what TV show I'm talking about. Because I'm not sure. I think it's still on today. Unless it got canceled last year. But it was called The Simpsons. I was obsessed with that show. I was in the 11th grade, 12th grade. I was in the drama 101 class, and we had to do a monologue. And I got up there and did a monologue that Mr. Burns had done, because he was my favorite character back then. Don't come for me. He was. So I adore that show. My brother, my sisters, we all love that show. For the first 10 seasons. Then after that, you can kind of pick and choose the different seasons, but 1 through 10, classics. So in the first season through the 10th season, there's an episode where Bart has done something so horrendous. The principal can't take it. What's his name? Chief Wiggum, he can't take it. So they come and take Bart to his parents. And they say, something's got to be done. Y'all got to do something with this boy. So they come up with this plan. So they tell Bart, hey, we're going to take you to Disneyland. He's all excited. He packs his bag. He sees everybody else getting ready to go. They are already all in the car. He comes running out with his little suitcase. He gets in the car and he's like, oh my God, I can't believe we're going to Disneyland. Then he's like, hey, I don't see y'all with suitcases. Where are your suitcases? Homer's looking straight ahead with just 2 dots. His eyes are just 2 dots. And Marge is looking like this. So they reveal to him that he's now going to go to military school. So he went from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows in seconds. He was like, oh my God, we're going to Disneyland. I'm going to military school. He fights it. Lisa loves the school, so she enrolls too. They graduate. It's a classic episode. You gotta watch it. They graduate. Bart graduates with honors. They're even more frightened of Bart now. Lisa got a medal. It's great. So they graduate. They get in the car. Homer's scared. He's packing stuff in the trunk of the car. They get in the car. They're driving. And they're like, guys, y'all did so good at this school. We promise we're going to take y'all to Disneyland this time. They both raise up their arms and they're like, yeah. The next shot, the car pulls into the parking lot and it's the dentist. So Homer and Marge start cracking up because they think it's the funniest thing. That again, they have taken their kids from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows. So I said that to say that I want you to remember that feeling. Remember that feeling like when you're a kid or even, like now where you're like, yeah. Remember that feeling. So let me set the scene for today's mukbang. It is July 25th. And remember, I always have my notebook, so forgive me. I do go back and forth to my notebook because I want to make sure that I do the story justice, okay? It's July 25th, 1946. There is a young man. His name is Roger Malcolm. And he is his second wife. Her name is Dorothy Malcolm. And everybody at this point, let's say they're in their 20s. Okay? So let me back up just for a second. And please remember that in the South, even in 1946, my father was born in 1949. My mother was born in 1951. So this is still kind of relevant for me. This is in that area.
That's funny because you said his name was Roger,
Mm-hmm.
and his wife name was Dorothy.
Yeah.
My father's name was Roger, and my mother's name is Dorothy.
I did not put those two together. And what year were they born?
Both 1946.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Did y'all hear that? My father-in-law, his name was Roger. My mother-in-law, her name was Dorothy. And they both were born in 1946. That's crazy. I can't believe when I've been researching this, I didn't put those two together. Wow. Wow. Okay.
Her name Dorothea.
Dorothea. Wow. Okay, so remember in the South, there are different rules, right? When you can't look, especially if you're a black man, you can't look white people in the eye. You're crossing the street, you better look down. Everything is yes ma'am, yes sir, or you address them by their name, Mr. So-and-so, Mrs. So-and-so. If not, you're actually taking your life into your own hands just by, not crossing the street because a white person is coming your way, that type of thing. So remember those rules. So Roger grew up I usually try to name the victims. I try not to name anybody else that's involved because American history does that for them. I'm trying to get these people included into American history, so I would just say the boss, or I will say that person, or something along those lines. But the victim, I will name them to put their name out there. I'm trying to get their voice heard, their voice out there. So Roger Malcolm grew up, and the way that he grew up was he grew up alongside some other white people, and they actually kind of treated him like he was an equal. You know, he didn't know his place basically. So as he got older, he married a young woman, and her name was Dorothy, which we established. Now, according to different accounts, because you've got the white version and you've got the black version, Dorothy was having an affair, and I'm going to say this strongly with quotes, with somebody that Roger grew up with, that group that was over there, okay? Now, was it consensual or was it forced upon her? We don't know. The white people say it was. The black people say it was not. So Roger found out about this. He was highly upset because he loved his second wife. He loved her. She was his common law wife, but he loved her. So they get into an argument. Roger and Dorothy, they get into an argument. The person that she has an affair with heard the argument, comes, and according to who you going with, the white people or the black people say that he attacked Roger and Roger defended himself. The white people said that he was just trying to break up the argument and Roger attacked him. But irregardless, Roger did attack him. He stabbed him. Now, back in those days, if you did anything like that, you technically were signing your death warrant. It was like you were committing suicide.
The guy that was trying to break up the fight, the argument, got stabbed by Roger.
Correct. But he was the one that was having, quote unquote, an affair with Dorothy. Okay?
Oh, the one that broke it up?
Yes. Yes. Because we know back then a lot of that went on and it was not consensual. You can't give your it was not consensual. So we don't know. But Roger didn't like it. So him and Dorothy got into an argument. The guy that was there wanted to break up the argument, or he was attacking Roger and he got stabbed. And again, back then, you didn't do that. You're basically saying that you're dead now. So he tried to escape, but they caught him. And they're holding him, and they're about to lynch him. But the sheriff comes by. That was pretty juicy. I'm liking the wet. I like the wet better. And a little bit more Pepsi. So if you're liking this story so far, if you've liked the mukbang that we've had so far, please be sure to like, share, subscribe, and hit that little notification button so you'll know when I go ahead and post the next historical horror story. I try to do at least one a week. But as much as I've been digging and searching, I've got plenty of material. So the sheriff comes by. Usually the sheriff is in on it. Not this time, at this point in the story. And he saves Roger. He takes Roger to jail. Roger sits there, depending on what document you read, between 7 and 11 days. I only saw one document that said 11 days. Everybody else said 7 days, so let's go with a week, okay? He's sitting there. His ex-wife came to see him because they were still good friends, They were still good friends. he told his ex-wife that he knows that they're going to kill him. He knows it. So his current wife, that was Dorothy. Dorothy's brother, George Dorsey, and his wife, May. And May is pregnant. She's about 7 months. Now, there are some accounts that said that Dorothy was pregnant too, but she was just pregnant, like 3 months pregnant. But let's stick with Dorothy. Dorothy's 7 or 8 months pregnant. And, I'm sorry, May is 7 or 8 months pregnant. She's married to Dorothy's brother, George. Okay? We got it so far. We good? Okay. Now, let me tell you a little bit about George. George Dorsey was, again, everybody's in their 20s, George as well as May. He was a decorated World War II veteran. And we know this because there was a 10-year-old kid that he actually befriended. Now, it's not a weird thing or anything at all. But, you know, they used to walk different places. He would show him different things. Almost like a Cub Scout type thing. You know. So he was telling the kid all about his war stories and all these things. And the 10-year-old kid learned that he had been in the Pacific for 5 years. And he had just came back. He's only been back in the United States for about 9 months.
Who?
George. Okay, I want to make sure it's right. George Dorsey. Yes.
May husband.
May's husband. Yes. So, let's see. Be the chicken, sorry. Dorothy, George, and May are trying to figure out what to do to help poor Roger, to get him out of jail alive. So, I don't know if you remember from my other video, but back in those times, if a black person got sentenced or they got fined and they couldn't pay for it, there would be some horrible bosses that would just float around the courthouse. The horrible bosses. Did you show that one to the camera? Thank you. That's a good one. Those horrible bosses would say, hey, I'll pay your fine, but you need to come and work for me in these horrible conditions. So, May, George, and Dorothy know this one guy. Horrible guy. But they know him. He usually does this. So for 7 days, they basically begged him, can you please pay his fine so he can get out? No. Can you please pay his fine so he can get out? No. Can you please pay his fine so he can get out? Absolutely not. On the 7th day, they didn't even have to come to him. He came to them. All right, guys. I'll pay his fine. They're elated. They're like, oh my God. Our prayers have been answered. This is a miracle. Super excited. Extremely, extremely happy. He's like, I'll take you to the courthouse. However, I got some stuff I got to do. So I'll take you downtown. You guys can go shopping. Do whatever y'all want to do. Just get back here in 2 hours. They're super excited. Think about Bart at that moment. He's super excited. Yes, we've been waiting for this to happen. Thank you. Thankfully, nothing's going to happen to Roger. We're all going to be okay. So they go shopping. He even stated they were very happy when they got out of his truck. So they come back on time. They go to the courthouse. And the guy pays the fine. Roger is released. Roger, as soon as he's coming out, he's like, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I don't know how I can possibly thank you. And just picture how happy he was. His heart was probably full. You know, that's full, F-U-L-L. That somebody had done that for him. And, you know, maybe there are some nice people just out of the kindness of their hearts.
It was a white guy that bailed him out.
It was a white guy. He was a horrible boss. So as they're walking out, Roger's like, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And he says to him, just get in the truck. Not, you're welcome, just, hey guys, I'm just trying to help you guys out. He said, just get in the truck. So they all get in the truck. They're sitting by each other. They're holding hands. They're just so happy that Roger is out. So the guy is driving, and they get to a bridge. And as they come to this bridge, now this bridge is located on Moore, Moore, Moore Ford Road. As they get to the bridge, there's a mob there. The mob is blocking the bridge. Now, I've heard two different accounts, so we can just kind of approximate here. But they said it was anywhere between 24 and 200 people. So let's keep it on the lower end, just for the sake of everything. Let's say about 26 people were there, blocking the road. And a lot of these people were known Klans people. And the leader of the Klan was the one leading the charge. So they take the two men, George Dorsey and Roger Malcolm. They drag them out of the truck. They take a rope and they tie the two men together and they drag them away. Now remember, they have now gone from super high to super low within a matter of seconds. The women are screaming. They're screaming. But in the back of their mind, they're thinking, hey, you know what? They're probably just going to whip them. Maybe they'll just beat them. Everything will still be okay. They take the two men and they start beating them horribly. Beating them. Just beating them. They said they had broken bones and that their skulls were cracked. At this point, they are still alive, though. So the women on the truck who are screaming and banging and, just trying to help their men. They said that Dorothy was the one that screamed out, hey, Mr. So-and-so, don't kill him. As soon as the leader of the Klan heard her say that, he tells the mob, grab those two bees. And they snatch the ladies off the truck. And remember, both the ladies are pregnant, or at least one of them is pregnant, and she's 7 to 8 months pregnant. Drag them off the truck. Bring them over to where their men are. Imagine this scene. They're screaming, they're crying, they're hollering. They're there with their men. And hold on, let me back up just a touch. Because remember that little 10-year-old boy that I told you about? He actually was an eyewitness. He was not a part of the mob at all. But he said him and his friends were just walking down the river and, they went fishing. Like everybody, just going fishing. And he said he heard the ruckus. He heard the commotion. But he was like, they're probably just going to get a whipping. Because, the Klan whipped white people and black people back then. If you was getting... I'm actually paraphrasing him. He said... And he's like an old man now. He's like 70, 80. Not saying that that's old. I'm just saying he's older. Older than 10. So anyway, he said that, if you get in the whipping, you're going to get a whipping. So he was watching and listening, but he was so far off, the mob did not see him. So he said that all he heard was the leader of the Klan say, 1, 2, 3, fire. And guns went off. He heard it again. 1, 2, 3, fire. And guns went off. He heard it again. 1, 2, 3, fire. And guns went off. He kept hearing the Klansmen say this. Then they leave. Sorry guys, I need a minute. I was there in that patch right there. In that patch of grass with them. No more chicken? You don't want to try a crab?
I got sausage.
Huh? Get another sausage. Okay. Alright. Trying to catch up to my notes. I'm way past my notes today. Alright. Yeah, okay.
Crab's pretty good.
Really? You You put extra Old Bay on it. All right, we got another sausage here, people. All right, now that one's got some green stuff in it. Can you guys see it? That little like hunk right there. It's some green something. This one, I mean, Berta will share this one.
Can you hand me a chicken?
Yeah. Which one? Wet or dry?
I take the small one. So yeah.
Oh, what?
What? This one? Sorry. What? And sausage? No, okay. Yeah, there's definitely something green in here. Okay, catching back up. I'm sorry, before they left, the four are already dead. They have been shot to pieces. That was the words used. I don't know what it was about back then with white males, but they had a certain way of dishonoring a human being, a male. So, and I'm sorry, I didn't need to mention that this story does contain graphic imagery and violence. So if you don't want to hear this part, please skip ahead like a minute, because I'm gonna hit it and then I'm out. So if not, I'll give you a chance one more time. 3, 2, 1. Okay. So they took Roger's member, his male member, chopped it off, and placed it in his mouth as a way of disrespecting him. Then they left. So remember the guy that was in the truck, the horrible boss? He goes to the sheriff and he tells the sheriff, hey, some people that I was taking back to my farm to get some work done, I got stopped on a bridge and they dragged them out and killed them. So the sheriff gets his men and the guy leads them to the spot. The sheriff is like, who did this? And the guy was like, I don't know. Was anything said? Yeah, one of the girls that was on the truck, she named the person, one of the people that was in there that did it, but I don't remember what name she said. So the sheriff and his men go over to the bodies and see what they have done to these bodies, to these people. They were people at one point. Now, I know, because I love, what's that show? NCSI? CSI? You don't touch the crime scene. Back then, I don't know if they knew that or not, but they should have. But what the sheriff and his men did, well, they just left. They left. So the people in the town heard about what had happened. So they go running up to the crime scene. They're having a field day. They're taking pieces of the rope, putting it in their pocket. They're taking bullets out of trees, putting it in their pocket. They actually took a bullet from out of Roger's abdomen and kept that as a souvenir. We're talking about hundreds of people. They have now contaminated the crime scene. So word gets out. Nationally. Internationally. At that time, our president was President Truman. It said that President Truman was horrified by this act. They said it affected him deeply. That he was so horrified by it that he started let me get it right. Forgive me. He created the President's Committee for Civil Rights. And that particular instance helped for him to decide to integrate the military in 1948. He also put up a reward for anybody that had information about the mob. He put up the reward said $12,500 for anybody that has information about this mob. And I looked it up, and today that'd be $178,000. So that was a lot of money back then. So good for President Truman. You know, he not only did he do that, but he also assigned the FBI to go down to Georgia and find out what happened. And before this particular incident, that didn't happen. No president had done that before, to go investigate any lynchings, any mob mentality, none of that. So Truman was the first one that did that. Now the vets who served in World War II, they were highly upset about what happened to one of their own. And one of the vets actually wrote to the newspaper and said, "How is it possible that the barbarity of World War II could have been found in a place in the land of the victor?" So all the horror that they went through in World War II, this person's like, how did it come over here to the place and we actually won?
Were these white veterans or black veterans?
It was, I think it was a black guy. I think it was. And then another quote that they found was, "If we can find Nazis hiding in the U.S., then certainly we can find the murderers that murdered those people in Monroe, Georgia." So it was a lot of letters. It was a lot of protests. The president sent down the FBI. Now, it only took 39 hours for the FBI to assemble and go down to Georgia. They stayed there for 4 months. They're interviewing people. They're talking to people. They're trying to find evidence. But remember, they had torn the crime scene apart. So the FBI said it was kind of like they were, trying to find out stuff with their hands behind their back. Because not only was there no decent crime scene, and the victims had actually been shot to pieces. Let me back up just for a second, because his first wife, Roger's first wife, she was the one that had to go and identify the bodies. And she said they were so badly mutilated that the only way she could tell it was Roger was from his mouth. That's the only thing. Everything else was basically shot to pieces. So the FBI is trying. They're talking to people. But at this point, people are clamming up. Because, there's intimidation. People are scared. So nobody is talking. Except for, well, it didn't even go to trial because there were so many people that weren't talking. It didn't even go to trial. Hold on. Man, I'm getting another bite. There was nothing the FBI could do. So what happened was, well, before we move on, there was a justice of the peace that was down there while the FBI is searching, trying to find some information. And the justice of the peace said, and I'm quoting, he hoped this case would never be solved. And they asked him why. And he said, because this is a deterrent to uppity blacks. So there was one brave young boy. His name was Lamar Howard. Lamar Howard went to the grand jury. This is a separate case? Yeah, because at this point, everybody was lying. The FBI was hoping that somebody would snitch or they get somebody on the stand and, they could outwit them, outthink them, but nothing was happening. So there were 2 brothers that were charged because this young man, Lamar Howard, said that he thought he saw something, and he identified 2 brothers. It actually went to the grand jury because the FBI is like, we got to do something. We need something. The grand jury was made up of 21 white men. And so the case, the one brother, he got off. He was not found not guilty. The other brother, this is after Lamar testified. The other brother, he did get one charge. It was a lesser charge, and that charge was like what's it called? Perjury. But then after that, they threw the charge out. So he was let go too. Now these two brothers remember that Lamar snitched on them. So they went and they found Lamar, and they said, because I think for the grand jury you don't have to be in front of the people, like it's kind of like sealed or whatever, so you don't actually have to be in front of the people that you're accusing. They went to him and said, what did you tell them? What did you tell them? And he kept saying, sir, I didn't say anything. I didn't really know anything. I didn't tell him that much.
It's a black guy.
It is a black guy. I think he was like 19 or 20 at the time. I didn't say anything. I don't know anything. So they took him to the back of an ice shed. From what I understand, they beat him severely. They took his head and they rammed it into the wall. And then they took a gun, the butt of the gun, and they kept beating him in his face and head until he passed out. They found him and took him to the hospital. And one of the documentaries, they actually show what happened to him. And he was so badly beaten. And even though he's like older now, like in his 60s, it's still, he's like, I still get nightmares. I still have neurological damage. It's still like fresh for me. It's still bad for me. So from what after that happened, the one brother actually ended up dying that same year. And then the other brother, the one that got acquitted, his charges just went away. 5 years later, he was found murdered. No cookies? We do have cookies. There's cookies over here. Would you like to try a Kit Kat? I can open it. They're limited edition. I found them at Walmart. It's supposed to be apple pie. Ooh. It's like white chocolate, maybe? Yay. I got. See? It's like white chocolate. There we go. And he took a piece. Thank you. Would you like a piece? Would you like a piece? I'll take a piece. You know you're singing at the Kit Kat bar. How is it?
It's good. It don't even taste like a Kit Kat.
It tastes like apple pie. You sure you don't want to try it? Look on the inside.
It's good.
It tastes like apples on the inside. So we skip ahead a few years, and some of the people in the town created the Moore Ford Committee, and they made a marker by the bridge where they were killed. And on the marker it says, "May your suffering be redeemed with brotherly love." That committee also started scholarships, and then every year on the anniversary of their massacre, their murder, some people get together. It was law officers and different officials in the government, and they all link arms in solidarity to remember them. Now, 53 years after the murders, a yellow plane flew over their graves in memory of them and in tribute. People were singing songs, and some soldiers actually presented a folded flag to George Dorsey's nephew. And then I'll go ahead and end it with this one. George Dorsey's sister-in-law, her name was Ruby. She said that she never thought that something like this would happen. This tribute, the honor that they gave him, and all the other ones who passed as well. She said, thank the Lord that she had lived to see it happen. So that one was actually entitled The Last Mass Lynching. Now, there were additional lynchings after this one. And I actually wanted to look up and see exactly what the dictionary defines as lynching. And lynching is when a mob kills someone, usually by hanging, for an alleged offense with or without a trial. So that one was the last mass one. There were more that happened after that, but this is the one that they quantify as the last mass one. And again, I always like to end my videos by saying thank you for watching. If you like the video, please like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification button. But remember, we're saying that we are all in this together. And in order for us all to be in this together, we have to learn all the history. We've got to learn the good stuff, the glory stuff, as well as the bad stuff, the scabs, the horror, so we can all move forward. So I'd like to thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions, you want to talk about it some more, let's do that. Comment below. Did I get something wrong? Did I get something right? Just tell me below. We are all about learning on this channel. Thank you so much. We're going to continue to eat and enjoy your day. Have a good evening. Bye, guys.